Sure, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street, family owned and operated, always the best value.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Authentic Mexican food is not always easy to find, but you can find it in Lincoln at Tacos Los Hermanos. Their birria tacos are worth the drive from anywhere in town, but their chicken, chorizo, al pastor, and asada tacos are also worth the trip. You can also try any of those meats in a burrito or quesadilla. You won't find a better toppings bar in the area or better dessert options. If you can't get there, don't worry, they do deliver as well. Stop by Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock Streets in Lincoln.
Your new Total Wine in Lincoln has the largest selection of wines, spirits, and beers, plus totally low prices and friendly service from our helpful guides. With over 8,000 wines, 4,500 spirits, and 2,500 beers, you're sure to find your favorites and something new. You can even order delivery, in-store, or curbside pickup. Find what you love what you find, only at Total Wine and More. Now open in Lincoln next to Gateway Mall.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
At Allo, we go beyond internet, bringing you faster speeds backed by an all-fiber network. We go beyond TV and phone service, delivering reliable, crystal clear connections. We go beyond customer service with local teammates and no robots for a hassle-free experience. We go beyond value, offering transparent prices with no contracts, hidden fees, or data caps. We even go beyond our office doors by working, hiring, volunteering, and living in the communities we serve. Go beyond fiber. Sign up today at allofiber.com.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Welcome in to the Corner 3, taking you around the arc of college basketball. From the NAAC to the Pac-12, the WCC to the SWAC. We cover it all now on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
How's it going, y'all? Happy Friday night. Thanks for tuning in to the Corner 3. I am your host, Austin Oerman. Been with you for the last few hours during On the Block as well as Old School. Big shout out my peeps, Strick and Jay. Love them. It's always fun. We're talking some straight up college hoops here on this show. 402-464-5685, Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line open and available for you, as are the streams. We are stream only with my beloved Kansas City Royals just underway against the Baltimore Orioles at Camden Yards in the rematch of last year's American League wildcard series that went the correct way. Royals on a hot streak, won 9 of their last 10. Bobby Witt Jr. playing well, Salvador Perez out, Vinny Pasquantino rounding into form, and one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. Your Kansas City Royals on your home for the Royals here, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. That's over the air. But here on stream, like I said, also brought to you by Sartor Heyman Jewelers. We're talking some college hoops tonight. We watched some college hoops as a station at Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill, but you can watch the Kentucky Derby there tomorrow at 27th and Jamie Lane in South Lincoln. The Kentucky Derby starts at 5:57 p.m., not 5:56, not 5:58, 5:57 p.m., but there are races and fun to be had before that at Liquid Assets. Bring your finest attire, wear your fancy hats. They have 23 beers on tap. They got mint juleps, high-end bourbon available to make it feel like you're in the action at Churchill Downs. They've got 30 TVs out there at Liquid Assets. I can confirm I counted them. They'll be showing the Derby. They'll also have some Major League Baseball, some golf, and NBA and NHL playoffs on for you while you're there. Enjoy their delicious wings or their handheld sandwiches, including the Turkey Melt, Liquid Gold Hamburger, Bull Market Barbecue Burger, or the brand new Chocolate Chip Cookie Skillet for your dessert. All that and more at Liquid Asset Sports Bar and Grill, 2755 Jamie Lane, just north of 27th and Yankee Hill here in Lincoln. Should be a fun show. Should be a pretty quick moving hour for us here during the Corner 3. Couple interesting topics, I think, to get into. We'll lead off the show by talking about college basketball and its eligibility rules, specifically for foreign players, but there's no reason that this couldn't apply to domestic players as well, especially as we move into the NIL era of college basketball, as we get further into the throes of that. And then the NBA Combine released its 75 invitees. Who are some of those college prospects that are out of a chance in college, that are out of eligibility, that need to have a good showing at the NBA draft to move themselves up draft boards? Who are some interesting names who could rise, who could fall? We'll get into all of that and more in segment 2 of the show. Until then, 402-464-5685 is the number to get a hold of me with any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns you might have. But friends, let's dive into this, a Big Ten related topic out of Urbana-Champaign, Illinois, the State Farm Center. Brad Underwood. I don't know how many of you follow him on Twitter. I don't. But he has been hitting the international recruiting front with a vengeance, with some fury. Pretty much everyone that Illinois has recruited out of the transfer portal, or just straight up recruited, but pretty much everyone ends up with a -IC, an itch at the end of their name. Why do they have to do that? Who did Illinois lose first and foremost? Well, they lost Dre Gibbs Lawhorn, a backup guard. He ends up going to UNLV. Trey White, a junior, 6'7" small forward, left Illinois to go to Kansas. You look at Morez Johnson, one of the top freshmen in the Big Ten a year ago. He is leaving Urbana-Champaign to go to Ann Arbor, play for Dusty May. Kerry Booth leaves Illinois. He's committed to Colorado State. Those are some pretty notable losses for an Illinois team that at full strength last year was capable of making a run in the NCAA tournament. Did not end up happening. Illinois was certainly inconsistent, but Illinois was also injured or ill quite a bit of the season. Brad Underwood talked about that when he brought his Fighting Illini to Lincoln. Nebraska gutted out a non-aesthetically pleasing win over the Illini, but certainly an important win for the Huskers late part of their season, part of the win streak that Nebraska went on. So some pretty big losses for Illinois to the transfer portal. You look at Kasparis Yakushonis going to the NBA draft as well. So Illinois needed to reload. And the way they did that was they dipped into a bunch of the foreign market. We'll start with the players that were here domestically first, and then we'll add on to that. So the most recent commit to Illinois was Andre Stojakovic. That's a last name that you should probably know if you've paid even cursory attention to the NBA anytime over the last 25 years. Andre Stojakovic is the young son of Peja Stojakovic, former NBA player, most notable for his tenure with the Sacramento Kings, the Jason Williams era, early 2000s. So Andre Stojakovic transfers to Illinois from Cal. And okay, well, he's American, very, very Greek and I think Croatian sort of last name for him. But okay, interesting. That's certainly a worthwhile flyer to take. Average double-digit points, pretty good shooting numbers for a pretty mediocre Cal team, but it wasn't necessarily Andrei Stojakovic's fault. Then you get the Ivisic twins. First of all, you get Tomislav Ivisic. He was the one that committed to Illinois from internationally. He's from Croatia, and his older brother by 4 minutes, Zvonimir Ivisic, is joining him in Urbana-Champaign this year. He committed to Kentucky. Big Z is Zvonimir Ivisic, the one that started his career with John Calipari at Kentucky, followed Cal to Arkansas last year, and now is joining his brother Tomislav, Big T, at Illinois. Both of these players, obviously Croatian twins, born 4 minutes apart, both of these Ivisic brothers ended up playing professional basketball in Montenegro before they came over to the States. Tomislav, the one that initially committed to Illinois, played in 69 games across 3 seasons for SC Derby was the club in the ABA First Division. And Tomislav began his NCAA career as a sophomore. Even though he hadn't played college basketball before, the NCAA took a look at his age, his body of work, and said, you know what? We would love it if you would come play basketball over here, but here's the catch. We will not grant you freshman status. We are going to say that you're a sophomore. Brother Big Z, Zvonimir Ivisic, played 2 seasons for that same club, SC Derby, over in Montenegro. He comes over, a long eligibility fight for him in Kentucky. Kentucky was ultimately able to get him eligible. Didn't play a huge role for them once he got onto the court. Not necessarily surprising, first time in a new country trying to acclimate to the college game and whatnot. But he showed enough promise that John Calipari wanted Zvonimir Ivisic to follow him over to Arkansas. That happened. Now both Ivisic twins are at Illinois. So Illinois still looking for more players. So they go back to that Montenegrin. Well, they get David Mirkovic. He is a 19-year-old forward playing for, guess who? That's right, SC Derby in Montenegro. Okay, younger guy, again, 19, but still playing First Division Adriatic League basketball. Illinois goes overseas and stays overseas, I should say, and gets Mihailo Petrovic. He's a point guard from Serbia who's 22 years old. He's got 2 years of professional experience, first for Borac in 23-24, and then played for Mega in 24-25. That is a club of some pretty big repute over there in the Adriatic League. So what Illinois did was went overseas, had a connection, right, with SC Derby, which, okay, cool. Credit to him for that. It's a little bit of a club system, but there's not as much focus on that as there is at, say, Real Madrid in Spain, who we'll certainly get to coming up here in just a minute. But Illinois got old. It got experienced. And that's what seemingly every coach in college basketball wants right now, is to get old, to get mature, and find ways to win games now. But let's not kid ourselves, right? Illinois is not the only team going with a bit of a foreign influence. Just up the road from us here at 1040 O Street, Creighton. You look at a guy that they have on their roster, Montenegrin, again, Fedor Zugic. He was 22 years old, and looking back on Creighton's roster last year, they didn't even list him as a class. He had just come over, wasn't given a freshman listing, wasn't sophomore, wasn't junior, wasn't senior. No one really knew for sure what his eligibility status was, and that's carried over into this year. There's some major confusion on whether or not Fedor Zugic will be able to play for Creighton. He played in 22 games for the Jays last year, and like I said, he's waiting to hear about his eligibility for 2025 and 26. And again, this isn't new, right? It's not like Illinois is changing the game. They're just going all in on it this offseason. Creighton has dabbled. Plenty of other teams have dabbled. But the one that really comes to mind, having done this first, was Gonzaga. Which, let's take a second, think about who Gonzaga brought in. You know, Kyle Wiltjer doesn't qualify. He was Canadian, did the high school path, AAU circuit, all that good stuff. But you think about guys like Persmic Karnowski, You think about Domantas Sabonis, some postmen that played for the Zags that came over to Gonzaga with professional experience, at least a year of it, if not a couple of years. Karnowski was just a huge mountain bowling ball of a man. And of course, Domantas Sabonis, his father, Arvydas Sabonis, Lithuanian, son Domantas, ended up having I think it was just 1 year of professional experience over in Lithuania before he came over to play college basketball. Gonzaga didn't just stop there. They had some other guys, Martynas Arlauskas, who played professionally before joining Gonzaga, and Elias Harris, who put up some pretty big numbers for Gonzaga in the early to mid 2010s. And a big part of that success of getting those players over to Gonzaga was former Gonzaga assistant and current Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd. He was the key to that international recruiting, and that's carried over to to Arizona, right? Tommy Lloyd and Umar Ballo come to mind. Tommy Lloyd, Henri Visar, who just transferred out of Arizona to North Carolina. Henri Visar played for Real Madrid's youth club, which that's an animal in and of itself. I think there's a big difference between being brought up in the system, right, and these youth clubs. My understanding is that's a little bit closer to an IMG or a Montverde, where it's basketball focused, but you're still doing, some normal high schooler-ish stuff. Certainly you're not a true full-fledged professional like Karnowski was, like Sabonis was, like Augustas Marciulionis was for St. Mary's. That's a guy who was playing pro in Lithuania. Paulius Morauskas, another guy that Tommy Lloyd recruited to Arizona, was playing professionally in Lithuania before he came over to play college basketball in the States. Started at Arizona, got buried, and then ended up going to St. Mary's to team up with fellow Lithuanian Gus Marciulionis, like I just mentioned. Really, the guy that I think did it the quote-unquote most ethical way, like you would imagine, was Filip Petrusev, another talented post player from Europe for Gonzaga. He was in a club system before he came stateside, but he didn't go straight from a club feeder system into playing professional minutes to playing college basketball. No, he was in the feeder system for a club overseas, but then he came over to America for high school. He went to a high school in Avon, Connecticut, and then found his way down to Montverde Academy before going darn near across the entire country from Montverde all the way to Spokane, Washington. So to me, the Filip Petrusev model is the ideal and what I think college basketball should be shooting for with its international prospects. You could look at, the NBA global academies in Africa or Australia. Duke has certainly done that, right? Tyrese Proctor from the Australian Academy and Kamen Malawatch from the African Academy. But even that, it's not professional experience. Now you're teaching them how to be professionals, but it's not just, basketball games, here's a pro basketball league, go play. Like, for example, essentially what my understanding is Sabonis was doing, or Marciulionis and Morauskas were doing. There are layers and there are levels to this. So let's just dive into some of my thoughts on this. Is it a problem that you have players coming over to college basketball with professional experience? Is it a problem? Not necessarily, because this is still a relatively small percentage of players that have the ability on the basketball court, the financial means, the motivation to make this work. So, no, it's not a huge problem. I think that neutral observers of the game that want college basketball to continue to grow and be a potentially more aesthetically pleasing package for fans to watch would say, yeah, get older, get more skilled, get more talented, bring guys over that are mature, throw them in. The game's going to be easier to watch. Why not? Why wouldn't we like that? But I'm still trying to figure out if playing for a professional team overseas is its own beast, or if we can say that, well, those guys overseas are going to play for their town's, club or feeder system, and then get these reps in the ABA over there, the Adriatic League, Spanish leagues, French leagues, German leagues, whatever it is. Is that the equivalent to playing AAU playing on the EYBL or Adidas or Puma circuits over here in the States. And I really don't think it's the same. I don't think there's a good convincing argument for it to be the same, because AAU over here in the States is age bracketed, as are, the majority of youth sports in America. Is that, you have your U15, your U16, your U17 teams. You have your U11s, U12s, U13s. And I'm sure there's some of that going on in Europe in the feeder level. But eventually, when you're talented enough, you can be a young player playing up with professionals, right? You think about Luka Doncic, who I know isn't the best example because he didn't end up coming to college in the United States, but Luka was over there in Spain, played his way up to the senior team, and was league MVP at 18. Luka Doncic was the MVP of a professional league at 18, right? It's just like if you're, a really talented 8th grader at a high school, you're one of the best players, you get thrown up on varsity and you have a 5-year high school career instead of a 4-year high school career, except that it's professional. So I really don't think that there's a comparison to be made. I mean, yes, you can play up in AAU, but in some cases it really feels like these players that come from overseas especially are playing down. Now, what's the comparison between the level of high major college basketball versus, professional basketball at whatever level overseas? The biggest difference is going to be who you're playing against. Professional basketball is professional basketball. Guys who have made it their life's job, or maybe they have an off-season job. But regardless, grown men, to be 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, like one of the guys that Illinois recruited, Mihajlo Petrovic, is 22 years old and is just now coming stateside for his first year of college basketball. He belongs to me in a different boat than, say, David Mirkovic, who's the 19-year-old who came over after playing a year professionally over there in Montenegro, right? They aren't the same, but that's where I almost give more credit to Mirkovic for coming over now than I do to Petrovic or Fedor Zugic, right? Because 19, you're still college age. At 22, you should probably be aging out of that, right? You probably had opportunity to come over stateside if you were good enough, potentially. Now, I know not everyone has the same opportunity, availability, to make the trip stateside, whether it's because of means, whether it's because you didn't get noticed, whatever it is. But to me, there's a big difference between a 19-year-old with a year of professional experience coming over or a 22-year-old who, under normal circumstances, would be graduating or at least have, 1 year left, coming over with, right now, essentially full eligibility. There's a difference there. And I think some lines need to be drawn. And my modest proposal that I would love to have your thoughts on, 402-464-5685, is this. College basketball needs an age limit. Plain and simple. It does. College basketball needs an age limit. I don't think college football does because there's one pathway. But college basketball doesn't need to turn into the NBA's minor leagues. It can be its own thing. So here's my example, my thoughts on what an age limit or age-based system could look like in college hoops. If you're 18 years old or below without professional experience, you qualify as a freshman, as freshman standing if you come over at 17 or 18 years old. You could talk me into it with 19-year-olds if you're old for your class, whatever. But I really think that 18, let's set it there, right? That's the age that I would guess the majority of people are entering college at. If you're 19 and you come over with professional experience, we'll grant you sophomore standing. But here's the catch. You don't get a red shirt, and I'll get to that in a minute. If you're 20, you get junior standing, you get 2 seasons of eligibility, no red shirt. If you're 21, you get senior eligibility, no red shirt. If you're 22 to 24 years old, you get grad student eligibility, but again, no red shirt. And if you're coming over at, 24, 25 plus, which I don't think has happened yet, but you can see it happening the way things are trending, I think if you're 24, 25, no college eligibility for you. Here's the other part of it. If you've played 4 years of professional basketball, you don't get NCAA eligibility, even if you haven't set foot on American soil for an American institution to play. Maybe it could be you have 4 years of eligibility to use across an international foreign professional league in NCAA basketball. So if you're 19 years old and you've played 2 years professionally, then you get 2 years of eligibility in college. I do think that's the best system. And I know when I say no red shirt, that's probably going to come across as a little harsh. And I don't want to lose the human side. I don't want to lose the human element of sports. Whether you have, formal English education training, English as a second language, whatever it is, it's a new culture. You're probably on your own. The only person or people you're going to know are the coaches who were in contact with you, recruiting you. And I don't want to be harsh. I do not want to forget the human element of sports, because I do think that a redshirt year to acclimate, to adjust, to settle, to learn is generally a good idea for foreign prospects. But let's say in this Illinois example, this Mihailo Petrovic, he's a point guard, right? So you kind of assume these point guards are heady players. They're probably veteran. They're mature. They know how to run a team. They know how to handle their business. They're not going to be selfish. A guy like that, I'm going to assume, is going to come over mature and ready to go. Well, he's coming stateside at 22. He redshirts. He's not seen the court till he's 23, maybe 24, depending on his birthday. At which point, the vast majority of quote unquote regular college students, right? NARPs, non-athletic regular people, have graduated by then. And those that haven't are maybe switched majors or are pursuing post-secondary education. And again, without wanting to lose the human element, if you are older, if you are more mature and you come over, hypothetically, you feel like you're ready to make the jump. So a redshirt year should be less necessary for you. For an 18-year-old coming over, if you don't have professional experience, sure, redshirt. If you have 8 years professional experience, I could be talked into a redshirt year. But I would like to see then the redshirt year maybe count against eligibility, which would be kind of defeat the purpose of redshirt the more I think about it. So let me retract that statement, rewind that one. But if you come over to college basketball at 20, 21, 22, no, you're not old. No, you're not grown. But you shouldn't be walking into a sport where you're not among the oldest, right? You should be an upperclassman. Right now, being 20 years old in college basketball hardly qualifies you as an upperclassman, because you have guys that are 21, 22, right? Normal senior age. You got 23-year-olds who redshirted and stuck around for 4 years of playing. You got 24-year-olds who redshirted and got a medical redshirt. You have some 25-year-olds. You have a 26-year-old in Chad Baker-Mazara. 20 hardly qualifies as being an upperclassman in college athletics anymore, when traditionally you're half done with your eligibility. It's upside down. It's on its head. But this is where I go back to this. If you have professional experience, college basketball doesn't need to be treated like the NBA's minor league. College basketball can be its own thing. And I'm not saying that because these players don't deserve a chance. But you are playing professionally. You are already in what would be, considered, top of the country, top of the table league, probably in your home country. Or maybe you're in their equivalent of the G League or AAA or whatever it is, right? Plenty of guys play second division or first division, but these guys Illinois brought over are all playing first division. They are playing in their country's highest level of basketball. And then wanting to come overseas and play third division basketball. The NBA has a minor league. It's called the G League. The NBA has a place for guys who haven't gotten their shot in the NBA or who can't cut it in the NBA. And those are international leagues. That's what these leagues exist for. These leagues don't exist to feed college basketball. College basketball is not, I don't think, can sustainably be that middle ground between foreign professional leagues in the NBA. College needs to feed into those other leagues. And then those other leagues, the best of the best, need to be the ones getting their NBA chances. College basketball will have a bad rap. It's not the cleanest game. It's not the prettiest game. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. I get it. But to me, it would be such an inversion of the system, as I think it should be run for the good of everyone, to make college basketball the middle ground, right? Youth to high school to college to whatever professional level it is that you wind up at, whether it's an overseas league, whether it's the G League, whether it's the NBA, whatever it is, that's the feeder system. It's worked well. I don't know why we're trying to mess with that. If these players have professional experience, and again, these are young men, they're not full grown, right? I get it. If you're 18, 19 years old, you still got plenty of growing to do, just like if you're 20, 21, 22. But if you're Mihajlo Petrovic and you're coming over at 22 to play college basketball, which essentially would be the third division over here in America, you got to find a way to make it work without a gap here. You don't need a red shirt. You shouldn't have a red shirt. You want to come over and dominate a level that you're probably too good for? Cool. More power to you. But as we talk about opportunity, I don't think what I'm talking about would deny foreign players opportunities. And that's not what it's about. It's not about foreign and domestic necessarily. It's about professional versus what we thought of once as amateur, right? If you are a professional in another country, why would you take a step back into what has been traditionally considered amateurism? Even with NIL, even with these student athletes, being paid quite a bit of money in a lot of cases, it's not the same. You are in a professional league. College basketball still is not professional. Even if it is getting professionalized, college basketball is not a profession. There's an expiration date. There's a timestamp on it. Sure, there is in pro basketball, but hypothetically, as long as you can hack it, you can say. It's not the case in college basketball. Never has been. I don't think never needs to be. Why else would basketball leagues exist in other countries if not to be essentially minor leagues in the NBA? You're good enough in your country, be good enough, then get your NBA shot. You've proven it against professionals, grown men in your home country or in your home continent, whatever it is. Why? What does it benefit you to come over to America and dominate guys who are younger than you? It doesn't square. Now, here's the flip side of that argument. I know someone would throw at me. It's easier to get recruited. It's easier to get drafted if you're American. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Which is why I don't think more teams are taking advantage right now of the way the rules are currently constructed. The coaches that are taking advantage of this, right? Your Gonzagas. We'll see what happens with Illinois and Brad Underwood this year. You get older, or more importantly, you should hypothetically be getting more mature. You get guys that don't have as many offers. Because why? Because it's costly to recruit overseas compared to domestically, right? It's easier to fly from, Lincoln to Atlanta than it is to fly from Lincoln to SC Derby in Montenegro, for example, where Illinois is doing all this recruiting. It's easier to fly to Seattle than it is to fly to Barcelona. It's easier to fly to Phoenix than it is to fly to Athens, right? We can keep going. So that's probably a big reason that the more teams don't do this. Language and culture barriers, which again, kind of flies in the face of what I'm saying with the redshirt rule. But that's why a lot of teams don't do it, right? It's a risk. Are you sure you're conveying your message? Are you sure you're conveying your vision? Are you sure that this player is going to fit in, be a part of your culture, understand what it is you're asking them to do, right? Basketball is the universal language, but there's more than basketball when you come over stateside to play in college, right? There's the full quote unquote college experience. That's what it is. That's what it's about. There's more to it, right? Because you should be taking some classes. How will that go for you? I just don't. I understand why coaches would try to take advantage of this now, but I think there's a very simple solution to put in place that would be better for these professionals overseas to continue their professional experience and training where they are already pros. You don't really want to take a step backwards. And then for prospects here stateside too, right? Now, another challenge to what I'm proposing for the age limit specifically is, high school can have that because players aren't making money. right? It's high school. You're there, you move on. No one wants to stick in high school forever. But right now, college athletics is booming business. You can make some serious coin being a college athlete. And I do assume that an age limit would need to be collectively bargained. And I'm not sure that's going to happen necessarily. I don't know how we got age limits in AAU or in youth sports or how it is. But when there's money involved, especially money like we're seeing now in college basketball with 8-figure rosters, 6-7-figure payouts to players, which I don't begrudge them, by the way, don't get me wrong. It's just the reality of the situation is that there's more money now in college athletics. And what has been the challenge, right? In House versus NCAA, the Diego Pavia challenge as well for his year of JUCO eligibility. What they're challenging is their economic earning potential. Is that the JUCO players don't want their year of eligibility to count because JUCOs aren't paying, at least as far as I know, and certainly not to the level of some of these institutions that they're being recruited to. No, the money is not the same. So what the athletes are arguing is that if you don't give me back my year of eligibility, you have unfairly and illegally hindered my economic earning potential. And here in America, we were supposed to like free trade. We're supposed to like free enterprise. They're all great things, don't get me wrong, but there needs to be a way for college athletics to get this under control. I don't know if an age limit's the right thing. I don't know if an age limit's the wrong thing. But I think it'd be better for everyone. I think it'd be better for the international prospect. I think it would be better for the domestic prospects. I think it would simplify things for coaches and general managers. And I think it would be simpler for the NBA if the rules that I laid out there, the age limits for college athletics and specifically for college basketball, if those were in place. Those are my 2 cents on the issue. Let me know if you have any thoughts. 402-464-5685. Love to have some conversation, discussion with you on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. We'll take a short break. When we get back, who got invited to the NBA Combine? Who needs to show out to improve their draft stock? We'll go over that and more as we continue the Corner 3. Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Midwest Bank is now hiring in Lincoln. They have multiple banking positions open and are looking for dynamic individuals passionate about helping others and building relationships. With a family-friendly culture, competitive benefits, and unique perks, Midwest Bank is a great place to start a new career. Apply today at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank is an equal opportunity employer, member FDIC.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Back to the corner three on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Austin Oerman.
Second segment of the show. Not sure if we'll have a third. Depends on how long. Want to keep going here. Still plenty to talk about, though, including NBA Combine invites. 75 players. Not all of them from college. Quite a few from overseas professional leagues, like we were just talking about, including the G League as well. Just going to go through this list alphabetically. Certainly not hit on all 75. I have better things to do with my life, as do you, but I appreciate you making the Corner 3 a part of your Friday evening, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Allo Channel 961. But as I scroll through this list, just some notes on some prospects that I think will be interesting, can really help themselves here at the NBA Combine. First one that comes to mind for me is going to be Ace Bailey. That's a guy who's not the most athletic. I mean, decently athletic for 6'10", right? Think KD, Kevin Durant type of mold. Not a crazy athlete, functional enough, little stiff, little boxy, maybe not the strongest guy. He's going to thrive in one-on-one settings. Tough shot taker, tough shot maker. But when he gets into group drills, how's he going to look? When they get into scrimmages, how's he going to look? Ace Bailey, intriguing ceiling, intriguing floor, unfortunately, as well. I think Janai Broom is going to help himself out as a smart, older player. Can he be athletic enough to make it work? Carter Bryant's going to shoot up some draft boards. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, NBA Combine invite. Certainly makes sense. He was the hero of the tournament run to the NCAA championship for the Florida Gators. What it's going to be for Clayton is the same thing, right? Knockdown shooter, did some Steph Curry stuff at times throughout the NCAA tournament, some crazy, ridiculous shots, especially in the comeback against Texas Tech. What does Walter Clayton look like as a small guard at the NBA level against other NBA prospects? How is he as a distributor? We know he competes defensively, but can he hold up when he gets switched on to other guys? Can he pressure the ball enough? I think Walter Clayton Jr. Shot himself up some draft boards with his NCAA tournament run, and really the full season that he had playing for Rick Pitino, I think will only help him throughout this process. But I do think that there's still going to be some questions for Walter Clayton, who had one of the best seasons in college basketball. Doesn't always translate to the NBA. When you shoot it like he does, though, you'll always have a chance. Nick Clifford from Colorado State is certainly interesting. That's a guy who I think a team is going to get a winning player from day one. Yet Cedric Coward from Washington State announced his transfer portal commitment to Duke, still testing the NBA draft waters. Selfishly, I want a bad week for Cedric Coward. That's a 6'6", 6'7" guy, jump out of the gym, 7'2" wingspan, shot at 40% from three last year. Certainly has a chance to make himself some money this year. As we scroll down the list, Vlad Golden, what is he at the NBA level? Not overly athletic, but pretty good touch, pretty soft hands for a big man. Decent shot blocker, pretty good rebounder. Obviously, given that he's 7 foot plus tall, but relative to the position, right? Not just general across the board. You look at a guy like Sion James from Duke at 6'6". Can he play the two? Is he a good enough point guard? He handled those duties for Duke after about the 8th, 9th, 10th game of the year. Was pretty good at it. Not maybe a natural creator, still learning how to be a point guard. And I'm sure that's not simple to develop at the NBA level, but that is a competitive defender, a guy that also shot the cover off the ball from three this year for Duke. I think Sion James is a really interesting prospect. What does Cam Jones look like, right? Is he in the Jamal Crawford scoring role? Can he be a small distributing guard like he was at Marquette? His counting numbers, his nuclear performances weren't as off the chart as I thought they were, but I think Cam Jones is a pretty high character guy who will do what a coaching staff needs him to do. I'm a fan of Cam Jones. I love watching the young man play. Curious to see how the NBA draft process goes for him. You look at a guy like Yaxel Lendeberg from UAB, triple-double threat at the American Athletic Conference level. Another guy that's committed to Michigan, but he's testing the NBA draft waters. Not sure which way he's going to lean. He would be essentially the Danny Wolf replacement for Michigan. Danny Wolf is the name we'll get to here in just a sec. But, let's just do it now, because as I look at this roster from the NBA Combine invites, Lendeberg and Wolf are right next to each other, just the way the list broke down alphabetically in the two columns. Danny Wolf, a little bit better outside shooter, I think. Not a great one, but a little bit better. I think Lendeberg was. Danny Wolf had a handle, good passer, high IQ. Lendeberg is certainly, I think, more offense-focused than defense, but solid enough positional defender, similar types of playmakers. Both guys can handle it on the break. You can do some interesting, 4-5 pick and rolls with those guys. They can play the 4, they can play the 5, whatever it is you need them to do. I'd be really curious to see if Lendeberg tests out as more athletic than Danny Wolf, if Danny Wolf's feel for the game is a little bit higher, if that's flip-flopped. I don't know, because these are two very similar players, and you see what Dusty May was going for in targeting Yaxel Lendeberg from UAB to be his Danny Wolf replacement. Love the idea of both those guys in the NBA. Really curious to see how their week at the NBA Combine goes for them. As we move on throughout the list here, Elijah Martin for Florida. I think that's going to be a 3-and-D Dorian Finney-Smith type of guy in the league for a long time. Elijah Martin, of course, played a huge role in helping Florida Atlantic to the Final Four, and then was a really underrated piece of Florida's run to the national championship. Liam McNeely from UConn, really interesting guy. He was asked to create a lot more on the ball than I think he expected when he committed to UConn over Indiana. Going to be a big week for Liam McNeely at the Combine to prove to teams he can still shoot it. His shooting numbers were down at UConn compared to his reputation and his numbers from high school especially. Liam McNeely was a part of that incredible group from Montverde. Who was it? It was Rob Wright, Liam McNeely, Cooper Flagg, Asa Newell, and Derek Queen, all on the same Montverde Academy team, which is just nuts. But Liam McNeely wasn't doing the ball handling, wasn't doing the creating, right? He was the off-ball, mostly 3, a little D sort of wing, and that's not what he did at UConn. So I'm curious to see if he gets put in those positions where he can really amplify his skill set, or if he can show that, yeah, maybe there is some secondary creator juice in him thanks to the on-ball reps he got at UConn this year. Colin Murray Boyles at South Carolina has never shot it well, but does pretty much everything else well on a basketball court. Grant Nelson, tall, skinny, probably a little bit better offensively, slightly worse defensively version of Ryan Kalkbrenner. You think about Otega Owe from Kentucky testing the waters. Can he be an offensive-minded Cason Wallace type? Backup guard for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who's carved out a role. You think about a guy like Derek Queen. The fact that Maryland was able to get two non-shooting bigs on the court with Derek Queen and Julian Reese. Reese has handled that, right? He can pass, he can distribute, he can play make. Where's the motor? Will he compete hard every time? Will he be locked in? Or how easy is it to take him out of rhythm, to take him out of a game? I was impressed with Derek Queen, what I saw this year. Did not expect to be that impressed going into the year, so a tip of the cap to him from me. Jace Richardson, Michigan State. He's got to prove he's athletic enough and that he has a right hand. Saw a really good write-up on Jace Richardson. I don't remember who from, but Michigan State, Tom Izzo did a great job, like they do, of playing to their players' strengths. And Jace Richardson really popped, whether it was coming off the bench or as a spot starter. Jace Richardson can shoot it. He can get downhill. He can pass. He's a pesky defender, if not a lockdown one. But everything Michigan State did had Jace Richardson going to his dominant left hand as much as possible. If Jace Richardson proves he can go both ways, if he proves that he has a right hand, he can dribble both ways, he can create with the right, he can pass with the right. His NBA pedigree, of course, the son of Jason Richardson, NBA vet, that's only going to help him. And I think he's a borderline first rounder right now. Curious to see how the combine process goes for him. Guy like Mark Sears. Is he anything more than Carson Edwards? I'm not so sold. I like Mark Sears in college. I think he's going to have a tough time at the NBA combine, just like he did against NBA, caliber length and Duke starting lineup in the Elite Eight matchup in Newark at the Prudential Center. There, scrolling throughout the list here, John Tonje at Wisconsin was a guy that came up during On the Block earlier today. If you're listening to this live, Tonje at 6'5", right? What's the ceiling? What's the comp for him? Is he Norm Powell? Is there defensive juice in Tonje? Can he be a playmaker? Or is he just a scorer? Is he just a bucket? I think there's going to be some questions about that. We'll see how many of those Tonje can answer. Nolan Traore. This is a guy that I was pretty sure coming into the year had potential to be, a surefire lottery guy and maybe a top 5 guy as an on-ball creator. I think he's like 6'4", like at least 190, I think it was, out of France. The big thing for him at the combine this year, can he shoot it? Been better. It's been coming around as of late. If you track his stats, had a couple good weeks shooting it in a row. The question NBA teams will need to answer and determine for themselves is this a hot streak? Is this a hot flash? Or did the light bulb click? Did it finally catch on? Are his mechanics consistent? Are they repeatable? Is he taking the right kinds of shots? Are we buying him in his shooting long term? It's going to remain to be seen. Milos Uzan, same sort of way. Shot it really well for Houston this year. Transfer from Oklahoma. Played a big part in getting Houston to the national championship game. Did a great job filling LJ Cryer's shoes. You're not going to get on the floor for Houston if you can't defend. But is there enough offensively in the tank for Milos Uzan at the NBA level in the role that he'll be asked to play? A lot to answer there. And then Bryce Williams. Big week for Bryce Williams, who came into the year by most mocks as a projected second-round pick or very fringy draft pick, right in that 45 to 60 sort of range. ESPN's big board had Bryce Williams at number 98. And I'm sorry, but that's disrespectful. There aren't 97 players better than Bryce Williams entering this 2025 NBA draft. Are there 40 better players? Potentially. Are there 40 players with higher ceilings? You can talk me into it. 45, 50, maybe 60. We'll see. But to see Bryce Williams' development, right, to go from really the third banana at Nebraska 2 seasons ago now to the guy for Nebraska more often than not. I nitpicked Bryce Williams' game. I did. Strick and I did. Because we saw what Bryce Williams could be. And maybe Bryce Williams showed that's who he is. I would like to think there's another gear in Bryce Williams, right? I want to be proven right about that. Because to see Bryce handle, to see him hit the tough shots, to see him hit hit big shots for Nebraska at multiple points throughout the career. Bryce is on. There wasn't much better of a show in college basketball. Can Bryce hold up at the point of attack defensively? Is he a 2? Does he play any 3? How much weight can he put on the frame? Can he make it work with, for the NBA, what's going to be, average plus athleticism? Certainly not an elite athlete by NBA standards, but a good enough athlete to make it through. Going to be a big week for Bryce Williams, right? Who obviously will not have to answer any character questions. Great dude, head on his shoulders, leader by all accounts from his time at Nebraska. He's going to be on the court. What's the ceiling for Bryce Williams? We know he's going to play in a team concept. We know he's going to compete. Can he show up? Can he do it every time? And what does he look like when he's not the feature option? I think that's going to serve Bryce Williams really, really well as we get into the NBA Combine. That's going to be on May 11th through the 18th. So that'll start a week from Sunday. So best of luck to Bryce Williams. There we'll see if any G League Elite Camp members make their way up. That camp will be the 9th through the 11th, so a week from today. You know what, friends? I think we're just going to call it a show here. 2 really fun, 2 really interesting segments to get to there. Of course, this will be podcasted. Amazon, Apple, pretty much anywhere you name it, we will be there. Go check it out. Go download it. Leave a comment and shoot me a line on Twitter. You see it underneath me here on stream. If you're watching it live at Austin_Oerman. And I'll tease this. Monday, this same time slot, 6 to 7 p.m., me and Nick Sainert, Baseball Corner. It's going to be fun. We'll talk prep baseball as we're 2 weeks away from the start of the high school state baseball tournament here in Nebraska. We'll certainly talk some college baseball as the College World Series is creeping up on us. We'll talk plenty Nebraska baseball, of course, minor leagues and major leagues. I'm a Royals fan. Nick's a Cubs fan. We will have plenty to talk about on the Baseball Corner, so give me a follow at Austin_Oerman for more information on that. Thanks for listening. Drop a line. We'd love to hear from you. We'll do it again next week for the Corner 3, 6 to 7 p.m. Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Treads Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony.